In a world where truth seems more fictional than fiction itself, where the lines between deception and reality blur, we are compelled to question the very fabric of our existence. Imagine discovering that everything you believe to be true was, in fact, an intricately woven tapestry of lies and misconceptions. This is not merely the premise of a dystopian novel, but a chilling reflection of our own reality. For you today, we are sharing with you an introduction into the teachings from the book. Reason to Believe. A link to this will be provided in the description below. Our journey today is not into the realm of conspiracy, but into a candid examination of deception, power, and the hidden forces shaping our world. Welcome to Reason to Believe, Unveiling the Matrix, the reality of deception. Watch until the end and subscribe to get a free copy of the introduction highlights of this in-depth teaching. Imagine living your whole life believing in the narratives fed by textbooks, only to discover layers of untruths beneath. This awakening is akin to Neo's experience in The Matrix, where the veil of simulated reality is lifted. Such realizations are confronting yet liberating, as they compel us to see beyond the constructed narratives. Throughout history, societies have been molded by the stories told by those in power. These stories, often riddled with strategic omissions and distortions, have shaped civilizations. For instance, from the book Reason to Believe, we find the widely accepted version of World War II overlooks the complexities of geopolitical strategies and the multifaceted nature of the conflicts. The ability to question and critically analyze these narratives is not just an intellectual exercise, but a necessity for true awareness. This segment unravels the initial shock and subsequent enlightenment that comes from questioning the accepted history and reality. The annals of history are replete with instances where truth was the first casualty in the quest for power. From ancient empires to modern nations, leaders have crafted versions of reality that served their agendas, often at the cost of truth. This manipulation has not only rewritten events, but also reshaped entire societies. Consider the Roman Empire, where emperors like Nero and Caligula manipulated religious and societal beliefs to consolidate their power, often using deception as a political tool. These historical manipulations have set a precedent for modern-day leaders, showing that control over the narrative often translates to control over the populace. The repercussions of these deceptions are profound, affecting academic discourse, international relations, and cultural identities. As we dig deeper into history's deceptive practices, we uncover the roots of many contemporary issues, suggesting that understanding these patterns is key to deciphering current global complexities. The book. Reason to Believe unveils, most importantly, our nations are under attack by foreign nationalists. Those who live among us enjoy our country, exploit its human resources for the sole gain of a foreign nation they serve a higher allegiance to. Their systematic mission since the late 1800s has been Agenda 1, to eliminate the belief in Jesus. Agenda 2, extinguish national patriotism through media, education camps, radical groups, and legislated hate crimes laws. Agenda 3, destroy the family as we know it. Launch a war on the Christian family unit and encourage divorce and agitation in marriage by any means possible. Agenda 4, total deception on your mind. Launch campaigns to endlessly harass your mental peace and encourage an undying loyalty to foster and support their false ideology to rule over you. Agenda 5, place the entire world under the dictates of them as a divine rulers over you. You absolutely need to review this book in order to protect yourself, family, and country from further harm. In our digital age, media has evolved into a double-edged sword. While it has democratized information, it has also become a tool for widespread misinformation. The control of information is a powerful mechanism used by those in power to shape public opinion and maintain control. Historical instances like the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which precipitated the Vietnam War, demonstrate how media can be used to manipulate public sentiment. What is the objective of the elite in orchestrating events such as 9/11? The United Nations gives us a clear indication. No one will enter into the New Age without taking a Luciferian mark. David Spangler, Director of Planetary Initiative, United Nations. More recently, the weapons of mass destruction narrative that justified the Iraq War shows the continued prevalence of such tactics. As we navigate an era where fake news blends indistinguishably with facts, the role of media as a gatekeeper of information has never been more critical. This segment explores the implications of media control and the importance of maintaining a free and unbiased press to safeguard democracy. The role of education in shaping minds is undeniable. However, this powerful tool can also be used to perpetuate a specific worldview, often excluding alternative perspectives and critical analysis. Educational systems, controlled by prevailing government or dominant cultural forces, can turn into echo chambers of the state or ideological agendas. For example, during the Cold War, American educational materials were heavily influenced by anti-communist sentiments, which shaped the perspectives of generations. It was an era where smart-thinking men understood what kind of enemy we face. Now we have educators in school systems that are actively promoting the violently destructive force of communism. Similarly, in many authoritarian regimes, history textbooks are tailored to glorify the ruling party and suppress dissenting narratives. Most often, the very group you believe to be your advisory are actually your enemy. You can follow a money trail out of your own country, and where it ends up you will find who is working against your best interest. The book Reason to Believe reveals that promoting critical thinking and exposing students to a multiplicity of views is crucial in combating educational indoctrination. On 9/11, broadcast on mainstream news, reports were made that defied any rational ability to think with cognitive reasoning, a reasoning that is abandoned under the implanted false narrative of patriotism to this very day. Stories such as, "Well, Dan, not far from here a passerby found a passport of one of the hijackers," Brian Pitt's CBS News report from Ground Zero. Applying your critical thinking, how does a passport find itself lying conveniently on the street after several feet of concrete, rubble and ash, devastated and burying the entire area? What are the odds of a passport surviving a 400-mile-an-hour jet airliner crash that subsequently explodes into an inferno that burns so hot it supposedly melts fire-retardant steel at over 2,500 degrees, turning the metal into molten lava? The story is so stupid to believe the passport of the supposed hijacker floated out and out of multiple millions of sheets of paper, raining down from the air for a couple hours. That passport not buried in ash and indistinguishable winds up in some alphabet agency's hands. This part discusses the need for educational reforms that encourage questioning and scholarly independence. Religion, one of the most influential forces in human society, has not been immune to manipulation. Throughout history, religious texts and doctrines have been interpreted in ways that serve the powerful, often diverging from their original messages of peace and compassion. The medieval Catholic Church, for example, sold indulgences to absolve sins, demonstrating how religious authority was exploited for financial gain. In contemporary times, extremist groups distort religious texts to justify violence and recruit followers. Understanding these manipulations is essential not only for religious followers, but for the society at large, as these distortions can lead to conflict and division. This part examines how religious beliefs have been and continue to be used as tools for power. Economic systems globally are built on foundations that often prioritize profit over people, leading to deceptive practices that affect everyday citizens. The complexity of these systems can create a smokescreen, hiding the true nature of financial manipulation. Take, for example, the global financial crisis of 2008, triggered by the collapse of the housing bubble in the United States. This crisis was largely due to deceptive lending practices and a lack of transparency in the financial sector. Banks and financial institutions played a significant role in this deception, misleading consumers and investors alike. The ongoing impact of such economic deceptions is profound. leading to increased poverty, inequality and instability. This part delves into how these economic systems are designed, who they benefit, and the long-term effects on the global population. Just as the possible staged event of 9/11 set America up to enter into a war costing billions of dollars, costing the lives of Americans, emotionally stifling our country for years, and for the ultimate benefit of a small foreign country who did not send their soldiers to die in said war. Nor did the publicly honor anyone who died for their benefit, nor have they ever. The nexus of deception and political power is perhaps the most potent and destructive. Political corruption, a global phenomenon, undermines democracies, cripples economies, and erodes trust. This part examines how political leaders use deception as a tool to maintain power and control. Historical examples abound, from Nixon's Watergate scandal to the more recent corruption allegations in various global governments. These instances show that regardless of the country, the temptation of power can lead to a web of lies and corruption. For example, the book Reason to Believe reveals in the introduction, there was a young man who would come into the room and say to the Vice President, "The planes are 50 miles out, the planes are 30 miles out." When the plane got down to 10 miles out, the young man also said to the Vice President, "Do the orders still stand?" The Vice President turned and whipped his head around and said, "Of course the orders still stand. Have you heard anything different?" Transportation Secretary Norman Mineta. Why was a stand-down ordered after the Twin Towers had been attacked? Not only were the attacks of 9/11 shocking, they were also miraculous. Towers 1, 2 and 7 are the only 3 steel-framed buildings in history that have collapsed due to fire. The building's engineers have stated that these buildings were designed to withstand multiple airline crashes as well as 200-mile-an-hour hurricane-force winds. Does anyone recall that Building 7 housed the FBI, CIA and, oddly enough, thousands of documents instantly lost concerning indictment evidence for individuals involved in the Enron scandal? Understanding the mechanisms of political deception is crucial for the electorate. It emphasizes the importance of transparency, accountability, and informed voting to combat these age-old practices. As technology advances, its potential to control and manipulate also grows. From surveillance technologies to data mining, the digital age offers new tools for those in power to monitor and influence behavior. Just before 9/11 on July 4, 2001, Larry Silverstein signed a $3.2 billion 99-year lease on the World Trade Center complex. The fire-retardant material for the steel framing was asbestos. The towers were under high pressure from the City of New York to remove the asbestos. An extremely costly procedure. Leasing these buildings was a poor investment at best. Mr. Silverstein, who already owned Building 7, took out $3.2 billion worth of insurance on the towers. Added to the policy were points to cover specific acts of terrorism. I don't think anybody could have predicted that these people would take an airplane and slam it into the World Trade Towers. National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice. There were lots of warnings. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. Well, which is it? Did someone in our government know or not? Though we were told the attack came as a complete surprise, it was a lie. Our military was conducting terrorist training exercises with regard to hijacked aircraft on 9/11. The military personnel were so confused by the actual attack reports, they did not know if it was real or an exercise. Looking back, what we do know for sure is someone knew very well that terrorists were planning to hijack planes. The problem defining who the real terrorists are. You're reading this book because you know something. You know something is wrong in this world, but you cannot explain what it is. You just know it's there. It's a deep feeling that someone or something is hiding the truth from you, and you want to know what that truth is. On 9/11/2001, the world as we know it subsequently ended. After years of scrutiny, it is evident there are more cover-ups than answers to the questions. Many have begun to question if 9/11 was a carefully devised plan. One carried out by a group of highly covert and evil men both in and outside of our own government. Men who plotted and killed over 3,000 American citizens. Is it so strange to think after so many years of our own government altering the events and history of every major nation on the planet that the controllers would not eventually turn the weapon on us? A coup has taken place seemingly right out of the dark pages of Roman history. The initiation of this instituted the modern age of the surveillance society. It is the beginning of the end of American freedom replaced by false safety, and somehow again a small Middle Eastern country has been the main benefactor of this event. The American Patriot Act is a prime example of technology being used for social control, where citizens' behaviours are monitored and privileges are awarded or taken away based on conformity to social norms through laws or censorship. Similarly, the use of data analytics to influence political outcomes, as seen in the Cambridge Analytica scandal, highlights the power of technology to shape political landscapes. This segment explores the dual nature of technology, its potential to empower and its ability to oppress. It discusses the ethical implications of technological advancements and the need for regulations that protect privacy and ensure freedom. Deception can often be psychological, involving the manipulation of minds on a massive scale. This warfare is not fought with weapons, but through propaganda, advertising and media, shaping perceptions and controlling public opinion. The use of propaganda in getting America to war against Germany, two Christian nations, to unify the populace against perceived enemies for the benefaction of a tiny group of people who very well may have initiated the spark of indignation through economic and political agendas to hijack said countries. The victors of wars get to write the history unto their narrative. A war or attack that may have been justly initiated by an adversary can be rewritten by the victors to make those who served a just cause look as if they were the devils of the world. Like having a bank sociopathic back robber tell why he was just in stealing the money and how evil the people at the back were. We are being fed information by victim narcissists telling you they are the victim while simultaneously robbing your very life from you. Even the modern-day use of advertising to create artificial needs are both forms of psychological manipulation. These tactics play on emotions, fears and desires to control behaviour. This part delves into the techniques used in psychological warfare, their implications for society and how individuals can guard against them. In many aspects of life, the choices presented to us are often illusions, carefully crafted to give a sense of control while maintaining the status quo. This is evident in political elections with limited meaningful choices, consumer culture dominated by a handful of corporations, and media outlets with biased agendas. The concept of choice in such scenarios is manipulated to serve the interests of those in power, reinforcing existing power structures and discouraging true change. This segment explores how the illusion of choice is maintained, its impact on society, and ways to foster genuine alternatives. Beneath the myriad forms of deception lies a potential global agenda aimed at consolidating power and control. Theories of a new world order or global governance are often dismissed as conspiracy theories, yet there are enough indicators in international policies and economic shifts to warrant a closer examination. This part evaluates the evidence for such global agendas, discussing international treaties, global financial policies, and the movements towards centralized control. It critically analyzes what these agendas might mean for sovereignty and individual freedoms. Despite the overwhelming forces of deception, there are pockets of resistance and awakening across the globe. Whistleblowers, independent journalists, and grassroots movements are challenging the status quo and spreading awareness. This segment highlights these efforts, the risks taken by those who stand up to deception, and the impact of their actions. It also discusses how technology, while a tool of control, can also be a means of empowerment and resistance. To combat the deep-seated deception infiltrating various aspects of life, proactive steps are necessary. This involves fostering education systems that encourage skepticism and critical thinking, creating transparent systems of governance, and supporting independent media. This part offers actionable steps individuals and societies can take to expose and counteract deceit. It emphasizes the role of informed citizens in creating a more ethical and truthful world. As we conclude this exploration into the matrix of deception that surrounds us, it's clear that the journey towards truth is complex and fraught with challenges. Yet, the pursuit of truth is essential for the liberation of the mind and society. Reflecting on the insights shared, it becomes apparent that awareness is the first step towards change. By understanding the mechanisms of deception, individuals can begin to see beyond the veils of manipulation, towards a future grounded in truth and integrity. Remember, only by knowing the truth can we hope to be truly free. As a gift to Christians and patriots, you can get the intro to the book, Reason to Believe, in the comments section below. Enter the comments section and click on the link. Once again, as a free gift to Christians and patriots, you can get the intro to the book, Reason to Believe, in the comments section below.